All right, guys, welcome back to this week's episode of Skiff Talk, episode 4. Captain Connor Bryant, Tidal Water Guide Service. Today, I'm with Captain Charlie Mogul of Fly Fish Charleston, and we are going to talk about his Waterman.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. This is my 18-foot Hells Bay Waterman. It's been a great Charleston boat for me. Draft's about 6 inches here. Nice crate, big deep spray rails, keep everybody nice and dry. Pulling strakes to the back. This thing pulls very straight, which is super nice. Tracks well, spins well. Just an overall great stealthy boat for shallow water fishing, mostly doing the fly fishing game, so it works really well for me. Now, I guess we could talk about a little bit of the Hells Bay history. You know, there's Gordon and Hells Bay. Hells Bay went to Gordon, then Gordon went back to Hells Bay. So everyone kind of gets a little confused on what's going on there, but technically a Gordon, technically a Hells Bay, kind of falls in between. Hells Bay works on them. Built with the same mold, so you know it's really the same boat. I'm really happy with this boat, and it's been a great tool for me in my guiding career.
So your front compartment on your bow, I know it's a very similar layout to the whip ray and the guide that we did. You also can access your fuel tank here, correct?
Yeah, so this boat has a smaller fuel tank than most of the ones coming from the factory. And so what I did here is I moved all of my batteries to the front, which put all the weight in the front, which is really nice. Helps get the back end up when you're running. So I've got my trolling motor batteries in there. I've got my offset trolling motor puck here, guide mount, so I can see it when I'm standing on the platform if I've got guys on the bow. Tons of storage in here, all dry. This is where I keep most of my clients' gear. When they get on the boat, I tell them to throw it in there.
And those, again, those deep gutters keep everything
nice and dry. That's my driest hatch in the whole boat. Most of the hatches are dry. Got a nice charging system here as well that keeps all my batteries topped off. So that's kind of my front hatch for you.
Big, deep. Awesome. Being able to touch your fuel tank.
Yeah,
too.
having room is nice. You know, big deep gutters. Ever take a wave over, this stuff just instantly drains out. Keeps everything super dry, which is a big plus. And then moving back, this boat is a no floor model, meaning that it doesn't have a false floor at all. So this technically is the hull that you're seeing below here. It's a little lighter than your typical false floor model. Hatch will drain straight out to here, drain straight out to the back. I've got 4 rod holders on this side going forward, 3 on that side. Keep that side mostly spin, keep this side mostly fly rods.
Now I've noticed on some of these cockpits, some of them have a false step or the cooler step here.
Yep.
Is that a certain model, or is that just?
So that's kind of an add-on some people get. It'll be a flat shelf that kind of comes out here and comes out maybe 2 feet, and that gives people a place to put a cooler nice and flat, which is nice to have a little step up if this step's too big for you.
Gotcha.
So moving back, we got this rear hatch is going to be my mostly tackle and wet storage, where I'm going to keep anything, wet towels, trash, whatever it is, and then all my tackle gear in that small compartment there. And moving on to my center compartment. This is a live well. Right now I have it just set up as a dry storage, mostly doing fly fishing trips. So kind of helps keep it all open and nice. A lot of dry stuff going on in there, which I really enjoy as well. Come tarpon season and bull red season, I'm fishing a lot of bait, so you got a big round live well, which really keeps the fish alive and moving, with a dual bubbler set up and a recirculating pump as well. Backrest on this side, which is super nice. I love that. My clients love it. Having a step up to get onto the platform really makes my life easy. And as we come back here, we've got the Yamaha F70. Great engine, super reliable, very quiet, sips gas. I'm running a 16-pitch PowerTech prop on this boat. Top end speed's about 38, cruise speed's 28, 29. I can do about 100 miles on my full tank, which is really nice. Coming around on this side, this is kind of my electronics, fuse, battery switch box, kind of random stuff. A lot of my captain's gear, safety gear, dock lines, extra sunglasses, fuse box, battery switch, kind of everything I need quickly I sit on top of. Water bottle, things like that, my lunch going here.
Now your sponsons for your sponson storage, especially on this one, your larger storage compartment, are you going all the way back, or do you have a bulkhead?
So I have no bulkhead in mine. Mine goes all the way to the very back. I keep like a little block in here that keeps things from going all the way back, just because I don't use all that space and don't have to go digging all the way back there. But it is nice to have that storage when you need it.
Okay.
You put 3-pack of life jackets in there, no problem.
These I know these being one of the original Hells Bay hulls, there's a lot of different variations, so that's why I'd asked. So I know yours is a side console. Is this the only way to get them now, or?
So you can have them built with a side console, center console, no cooler seat in front, or a tiller if you wanted. The majority of the Watermans I've seen have been side consoles, and it's pretty fun to drive. It's like driving the Porch boats, I would say. You know, real low to the water, real sleek. This boat just rips turns and handles really well. Even for being a pretty low dead rise boat, it really handles rough stuff better than you'd think, which is really nice. And some of the things I really love is this is the Carmarine G3 LR pole, 24 foot. I would never go shorter than 24 now. I'm a tall guy, and it's really nice to have a pole you get a couple extra pushes out of. Simrad, when I'm running these long trips, doing 30, 40, 50, 60 miles a day, it's nice to be able to know where you're going, especially if it gets dark and get back home safe. Another thing I really enjoy is having these 3 rod holders up here where I can easily throw stuff in there, pliers, rods, and quickly move from spot to spot without having to put rods back underneath the gunnels here.
All right, so I've noticed that your front platform, your casting platform, is different than some of the ones that we've had on the episodes so far. So do you want to talk about a little bit with your casting platform?
Sure, yeah, this is a carbon fiber platform. It's got carbon fiber legs, carbon fiber top. I think all in all it weighs somewhere around 4 pounds. So it's super light, super stiff, super rigid. When I was kind of speccing this boat out and designing it for my guide career, I really wanted something to keep it as light as possible. So this really helped do that as well. I've got some carbon throughout the boat just to help lighten some things as well. Up here we have what's called a front porch or console shelf. And so this plate here is carbon, so it's ultra stiff. It holds this Simrad really nicely. Really enjoy doing that. I made that myself, which was an endeavor. And then I've got a carbon wheel here, which actually shed about 8 pounds off the console. I used to have a big old Gemlux wheel on there, and that thing would cause us to bounce around a little bit, so this really lightened up the whole console. Underneath the poling platform, this is also carbon, so just a little stiffer, a little lighter, just some ways to kind of keep the boat as light as possible, keep it floating skinny. All this coating on this platform is actually bed liner, it's not powder coat. I really wanted to do something that was going to hold up and be repairable without having to go back and sandblast and reshoot this with powder coat. So this you can just come back in with like a spray can of bed liner and touch it up if you need to. But that's held up really great, so I've kind of have that throughout the boat as well.
And I've also noticed your cup holders, they're not permanently mounted.
Yeah, so everything's got to be kind of modular, and so I really like having stuff I can take off and get rid of when I need to. This is a Sea Sucker Marine product, which I really love. So this is just suction cup holders, so I can take them off, put them on when I need them, when I don't need them, and have a little access to stuff when I need it and keep it clean when I don't.
Cup holders are a very overlooked item.
Yeah, I mean, I'm throwing pliers in there, cell phones, flies, occasionally some drinks. Yeah, they're definitely something nice to have on the boat. Nice not to miss them.
As we were doing our final walkthrough of the boat, I did notice with these Sponson boats, it tends to be a trend that I've noticed so far of larger exposed trim tabs instead of flush mounted trim tabs that we've seen on the Drake and the Mavericks.
Yeah, so this boat has some pretty big trim tabs on the back. It's super responsive to trim, which is really nice. You can get it down in a rough sea, or if you need to get it up, coming off plane, whatever it is, this thing very responsive with these big tabs, which is great. They're also on an automatic switch to where when you kill the engine, they automatically raise back up. So you get to the flat, you don't have to worry about turning them off and then pushing them up and getting caught on oysters, whatever it is. These automatically flip up, which is really great.
It's very convenient.
Yeah. One
less thing to worry about.
It is, yeah. I don't even think about it, which is really nice. Then I've got the Sponsons, which is great because it moves the whole weight of the engine forward. So the boat kind of drafts a little bit less because of that, at least on the back end. And then, kind of also acts sometimes as a little bit of a tunnel. So even though this boat doesn't have a real traditional tunnel, water does funnel through here a little better, so you can kind of get this thing up and run through a lot of skinny stuff, which is really nice.
All right, so on your poling platform, I noticed you have a caddy, right?
Yep, so this is super nice. Say the client hooks up to a fish. I can quickly, stake the boat out, pop it down into this, and kind of keep the boat in place. Don't have to worry about the pole. I can run down there and help them land the fish, which is super nice. Use a stakeout cord as well if I need to really stake out for a longer period of time. That's super nice, like having a third hand on the boat. So I really enjoy having that there.
One of the little things you can just add on to make life
make life easier, especially if you're out there fishing by yourself too. You can pop the pole down in there, cast to a fish, which is super nice. And it really makes life 10 times easier than having to struggle with a pole between your legs or something like that.
Yep, and I noticed you do not have a flip down stern light on these.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so I actually had this added later since this is an older boat, but it did have one. I decided to put that on there just for the simpler and kind of smoother look there.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, folks, I think that's gonna be it with this Waterman. If you have any questions or wanna see another boat, drop them in the comments below. Captain Charlie, thanks for letting us pick your brain about your boat. It's beautiful. And other than that, folks, that's gonna be it. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for having me.